Hello, my name is Meredith Meyer, and I'm here to discuss the results of Jean's evaluation and the assessments we performed, as well as recommend a daily living goal and a functional academic goal for her to work on this annual IEP, and then talk about some progress monitoring tools that we're going to use to monitor her progress on these goals. So the first assessment we did was the Universal Nonverbal Intelligence Test. So overall, Jean scored between the delayed and the very delayed range on this test. Her full scale IQ was 70, which is delayed. She did do better on that non-symbolic quotient and showed more difficulty in the symbolic quotient. Next, they did the Woodcock-Johnson Test of Achievements 3 to look at her academic skills. So they looked at reading, writing, and mathematics. So her strength in this area was in the reading clusters, where she scored in the low range. This was her highest, and she struggled more with the math clusters and the written language clusters, math being her biggest area of concern, so something we definitely want to work on with her to improve those skills. Next, she did the adaptive behavior assessment. So this looks at daily living, functional skills and how she's able to adapt to her surroundings and, perform those daily tasks that we need in order to survive. So she scored from the extremely low to the borderline range. So she struggled more in the areas of communication and school living, which we know she does struggle with that communication piece, and that's also something we looked at, and I'll talk about here in a minute. She showed a little bit higher scores in that health and safety, leisure, and self-care. We know she has some really great self-care skills. She's able to, help get her jacket on, and she's working on all those things at school and at home. So it's great to see those scores represented in these results. Next, we did the wide range assessment of visual motor abilities. So this looked at her visual motor, visual spatial, and fine motor skills. Jean scored much higher in the visual motor, which is her ability to draw shapes. It struggled a little more in that visual, spatial, and fine motor skills. We know that this is an area that she has some more difficulties with, so it's definitely one of the areas we'll really help her and support her with. And finally, we did that comprehensive assessment of spoken language. So we know Jean is lowly verbal. She does have some words, but overall she does tend to struggle with communication, both expressively and receptively. And we saw this in her results. So this will really help us guide accommodations to know what Jean needs to understand what she's supposed to do so she can be successful in school. So the mean score on this assessment is 100, and she scored between 61 and 63, having that total core composite of 63. So that is more than 2 deviations below the mean. So we do know that this is an area of significant difficulty for Jean, and an area that she's going to need a significant amount of support in to be successful. We already know she responds very well to visual cues mixed with those verbal cues. So she's understanding what she's supposed to be doing. So, do you have any questions about her results? Great. So, I have 2 goals I would like to recommend for Jean to work on. So, the first one is a functional academic goal. And so I used Colorado's extended evidence outcomes to form these goals. So I related them to her standard based on those modified curriculum she accesses. So her functional academic goal I am proposing is by her next annual review, Jean will be able to tell time to the hour using both analog and digital clocks with 80% accuracy on 3 consecutive data days. So look at a clock. If it's 11 o'clock, she'll be able to identify that it's 11 o'clock. Or if it's just past 11 or a little bit before 11, she'll be able to identify that as 11 o'clock. So 3 tools we'll use, and we want her to be able to generalize this skill. So no matter where she is, she's able to tell the time. So we'll start by using the classroom clock, which is an analog clock. Once on the hour, we'll say, "Hey, Jean, what time is it?" We'll mark down if she gets it right or wrong. During that one-on-one progress monitoring sessions, we have practice analog and digital clocks, where as the teacher, I'm able to set the time, show Jean, and ask her what time it is. Or, "Hey, Jean, show me 10 o'clock on the clock," and she's able to set the clock to 10 o'clock. So it can go both ways, which is really great to determine if she's understanding what telling time is and how that works. And then finally, I would like to have sheets with different pictures of clocks. So we have, grandfather clocks, and we have different digital clocks, and all the different kinds that she may see in her life, and to see if she's able to generalize that skill. because that's our ultimate goal, is that no matter where Jean is, she is able to tell time within the hour. So she is able to perform all those tasks, or maybe get to work on time, or get to her doctor's appointment, or catch the bus. It's a great start to all of those skills. And she's still young, and we have so much room for growth. We really want to push her and have her learn these things early that can help her learn bigger skills as she moves forward in life. And then for her daily living IEP goal, I recommend that we write her goal as by her next annual review, when given a familiar pair of shoes and socks, Jean will be able to put them on independently 80% of the time. So we know dressing herself is something she needs quite a bit of assistance with, and we would love to see her able to do that on her own for that self-care task. So I really did put in here that it needs to be a familiar pair of shoes and socks. So if you could send an extra pair to school that's like the same, or we can purchase one through the school budget that's the same as the one she wears regularly, that would be great, because we know all shoes are different. So we want it to be something she's familiar with and that she's going to be using. And then for this, I kind of broke the progress monitoring into 3 different chunks. So the first chunk is that she will be able to know and perform putting her socks on first. That's obviously very important. Our socks go under our shoes, so we want her to get her socks before she gets her shoes. And we'll have a chart to monitor if she's able to do that when we prompted her yes or no, and we'll work on getting that. After she's able to get her socks on first, we want to ensure she's putting her shoes on the correct feet. This is also very important, as we know if we're walking and our shoes are on the wrong feet, that can be very uncomfortable. So after we get her socks on first, shoes on the right feet, then we will move forward to checking to see if she can complete the entire task. So when she's going to go home, or when she's going to go out to recess, we might have her put her shoes on independently and mark, is she able to do it independently, yes or no, to chart her progress on that. Do you have any questions about her goal? Wonderful. So I think it's really important to talk about why we want to recommend these goals. So Jean has so much potential, and she has so many strong skills, and we want to continue to grow those skills and make sure she's doing functional things at school. While she may never, go on to get her PhD in astrophysics, she does have a lot of potential to be independent and perform all of these tasks on her own and live a really successful life. But we want to make sure we're teaching her those skills from a very young age, so she can do all of these things that we dream of her doing and is able to achieve them independently. So that telling time goal is going to play a part in everything she does. The putting on her socks and shoes is something she's going to have to do every day for the rest of her life. So we want to start and teach her those skills and make sure she has them mastered, so she's able to continue to grow and develop more and other skills that are going to help her succeed in life. As far as the progress monitoring, it is really important to track progress on these skills. We need to know, is she making progress? Are we supporting her in the ways we need to be? Do we need to lessen our supports? Do we need to increase our supports? It tells us what we could be doing better or what we can back off of, just as much as it tells us how Jean is improving. So we'll monitor her progress regularly. We will share those results with you using the progress monitoring tools I discussed. And if you ever have any questions, you can reach out. Thank you.